question and answer session for you. There are microphones in the audience downstairs. There are 2 roving microphones. If anyone upstairs has an urgent need to run downstairs and ask a question, there is a microphone at the back of the hall for you, and I'm very serious.
Don't stand for that.
Or just stand and yell like. I'm going to start just, well, firstly by congratulating you all on what I think is a really compelling and very cohesive and beautiful film, and ask first Joel and Ethan about, you know, what comes first here, the context, this, you know, this world in 1962, or the character.
We had a very early, years ago, we had an idea, we were just, you know, as we did sitting around talking, we thought, well, Dave Van Ronk gets beat up outside of Gertie's folk city. Does that go anywhere as a story? And we actually couldn't, we decided it didn't, and we sort of put it aside for a couple of years, but we kept thinking about it and returning to it, and eventually thought, well, maybe it does go somewhere. And that was sort of the germ of the idea. So it was sort of a situation, the situation that begins the movie, that was the sort of catalyst for the movie, as opposed to having any, really thinking specifically, yeah, we were thinking about the context, we were thinking about that scene in the village, but that was the sort of catalyzing idea, I guess you would. And
then how did the character develop? I mean, he's such a fully rounded character in so many ways. How did that develop?
Really, it developed by the character turned out not to be Dave Van Ronk. Dave Van Ronk in our minds was just shorthand for a folk singer. Dave Van Ronk actually kind of was the biggest folk singer on that scene before Dylan showed up, the biggest person on a pretty small scene. The idea of our fictional character became defined by the different kinds of abuse that we heaped upon him.
Well, I think, you know, success and failure and creative paralysis have been, you know, themes that you've worked with throughout a number of films. Could you expand on your attraction to those themes?
Well, again, in thinking, in sort of developing it or thinking about it more, what was interesting to us was telling a story about a character who was very talented, very good at what he did, but wasn't successful. And the sort of ambition of the movie was to raise the question about why he wasn't. It certainly was not interesting to us to sort of think about it in terms of there's this character who is bad at what he does and isn't successful. That doesn't seem like a story. But the other did, and it developed along those lines.
Oscar, can I ask you about how you came to be involved in the film, and also the challenges that it presented for you as an actor, given that there is also so much singing involved?
Yeah, well, I like the standing thing. Is it weird if I wander and talk? It's like a TED talk. Well, you see, I auditioned. It was very traditional. Just auditioned for the casting director, and then came in for the Coens, and they brought me in, and stage work. But, yeah, and then I came in and played some songs for them, and then they cast me. And it was, I've been playing music for quite a while. Although, as later I learned, I say that I've been playing guitar for 20 years, but the guy that was starting to teach me how to play, like this guy played, he said, I've owned the guitar for 20 years. I've been playing for maybe a few months. And learned how to do this particular style of playing for the film.
Can I ask for an expansion on the collaboration with T-Bone Burnett, who you've worked with before on Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, and the sort of musical writing of the film in a sense?
You're asking us how we collaborate with T-Bone? Yeah. Boy, well, this is the 4th movie we've done with T-Bone. you know, and the things that we do where there's live performance of music in the movie, he's really involved from the very beginning. So we sent him the script of this at the very beginning. Some parts of the sort of musical ideas in the movie were written into the script. Some of the songs were in the script. Others were things that T-Bone suggested, and others were things that we sort of, you know, came on mutually as we were sort of working through the story. What should happen here? What would be the right sort of song for this moment? And that's pretty typical. And then what we usually do is, and in this case that was the case, in this movie that was the case also, we had a week of pre-records on the movie. Even though we knew we were going to record all the music live on the set, T-Bone brings a big group of people together, and all the music was sort of worked out and recorded as a sort of one-week rehearsal. So the arrangements of the music, the instrumentation of the music was all worked out during that week. And he also working with other musicians, and Marcus Mumford, who came in and was one of the co-producers of the music with T-Bone on the
Yeah, the first kind of personnel thing T-Bone did was enlist Marcus. I don't know what feeling or certainty that Marcus was, you know, had a sympathy for this kind of music, and Marcus, in fact, was a producer with T-Bone music, and is the voice of, you hear this song at the beginning of Oscar singing a duet with his late partner, the late partner's voice being Marcus, but Marcus worked with T-Bone on basically all of the music.
Can I ask both Carey and John, your characters are so distinctive and so beautifully performed as well as beautifully written. It might seem like a very obvious question, but the attraction for both of you of working with the Coen Brothers and also how you came to be involved in the film.
I had, crikey. I had, well, there's a similar thing to Oscar, really. I read the script and did an audition in my hotel room. And yeah, that was it, really. And then they very kindly asked me to do it. So, and it was, yeah, I mean, it was a Coen Brothers film, so that was kind of extraordinary enough. And then it was a character where I got to sort of march around saying flipping, fudging things a lot at him, which is great. And yeah, that's kind of how I came into it.
I received an email from Ethan saying that they had a gas bag for me to play. I've always done pretty well with their gas bags in the past. I highly recommend it.
Other questions in the audience?
Hi, I was just wondering what it was like working with the cats.
Take it, that's for me. It sucked. There's lots of them because you can't really train them, so they have different personalities for the different scenes. And we had a wrangler, which I think her job was to agitate the cats as much as possible before attaching them to me. So it was a challenge. Yeah.
Hi, this is a question for the brothers. You're quite well known for making films, often as much as one per year, but there was a 3-year break between True Grit and Llewyn Davis. Was there any particular reason for that?
I have a teenager. Well, for one thing, actually, the movie has been, we shot it a while ago, and it's been done for a while, but then, for reasons of distribution and marketing, it took a while to sort of, before it was sort of decided to release it. So there was that added a little bit of time. It was, I don't know, I mean, one film a year is pretty fast, actually, and you're right, we had been making, we had been sort of cranking them out one a year for a number of years, but just the pace of that, to be quite honest, was sort of taking a toll. That's to sort of write, produce, cut, promote a movie one a year is, I mean, I don't know how Woody Allen does it. He's been doing it for 4 years, one a year, but it's hard.
Firstly, congratulations on a fabulous film, another one out of the park, well done. Just wanted to know, with Roger Deakins off shooting Skyfall, what do you think Bruno Delbonnel brought to the film? Did he bring a different energy, different ideas to it?
Well, Bruno is somebody that we had worked with before, very briefly, on a short film a number of years ago, 6 or 7 years ago in Paris. So he was someone who we had, you know, over the years talked about doing something else with. When Roger was not available because of the Bond movie, he was the natural person for us to go to. But it was really a very, I have to say, it was a very easy collaboration right off the bat. All of the sort of visual references that he brought in, the ideas that he had in terms of, after reading the script, in terms of what he was thinking about doing, really coincided well with what we were thinking about doing. And you know, he's really a master sort of manipulator of the movie, as you can tell probably from watching it, is extremely desaturated and manipulated in terms of the color timing in the DI. And that's something that Bruno is just a master at. So he's very much responsible for the look of the movie.
Yeah, Joel, Ethan, brilliant film. Really enjoyed it. I guess I'm wondering, was there any thought, or were there any other big scenes that didn't quite make the cut, or were there any alternate endings or anything that might have almost made it?
If there were an alternate ending, there would also have to be an alternate beginning.
Can I ask you, Oscar, about one of the scenes that I think is really just so compelling in the film, that scene where you're finally having your moment with the producer to do the auditioning performance, if you like. And to me, this is a scene that really captures so much that is wonderful about the film. And at that point, we're sort of on the brink of, with you, of not knowing which way he's going to go. Can you talk a little bit about the shooting of that scene and the preparation for it?
Yeah, sure. I remember that was one of the, maybe it may have even been the last song that we chose out of all the songs that Llewyn plays. And I remember, you know, in the script it said, in here he plays a song. And so I started looking through a lot of Dave Van Ronk's repertoire, and I mean, I was thinking, oh, maybe there's like a real bluesy song or something where he's just screaming his guts out, just balls out, you know, goes for it. And I brought you guys a couple songs, and you guys were like, no, we're thinking something much more white. And they found this song, Queen Jane, and I just didn't really understand the choice. It wasn't a song that I immediately connected to. Singing about King Henry and a medieval C-section. And you know, there wasn't really, other than it just kind of appealed to them, I had a hard time figuring out why. And it really wasn't, you know, and I just worked on making some connection to it and worked on the arrangement with T-Bone. And it really isn't until afterwards that I see it, and it's like, you know, it makes complete sense that, of course, that's the song that he chooses to play. And I don't know, I think, I mean, to embarrass him for a second, I think that a lot of the genius is not in, they come up with these complex, symbolic ideas and implement them. It's that what appeals to their instinct happens to have so much meaning in the end. And I think that it's a great example of that. You know, it's the whole point is that he should have played something much more commercial, but he doesn't. And the whole point of folk music is that these folk artists would find these old archaic songs and somehow make them relate to everything that was happening in their life in the moment.
John, I'm roping you back in here as well. Can I ask you a little more about your character, because it's not just a gas bag. He's got something more going on there, and he's clearly... I can't answer that question, but maybe you can. So my question was going to be about what, it seems to be a sort of potent character that mixes a whole lot of different references from that period. Did you kind of, work closely with the creation of the character with the Coens, or was it sort of scripted? And
I'm very happy to report that everything was on the page because I'm extremely lazy. And it didn't require a lot of anything. Sit down for a few hours a day and remember lines. Everything was on the page, and yeah, it was fairly self-explanatory. I'm sorry, I'm not doing a very good job of it.
The haircut wasn't on the page.
That was mine. He just, I imagined up a little backstory for him. That's actually nobody's business but my own. No, like I say, it was very happily all there for me. It just showed up.
I think what you say on the screen, is full credit to a wonderful performance, and indeed from all three of our actors tonight. Will you please join me in thanking them?